And that is how Lukethelaw was born. When it comes to email addresses, the sky is the limit. Well, actually, your imagination is the limit. And that can sometimes go one of two ways. Professional, normal email addresses, Luke_Shoal, job done. Or you end up with bigboss69@hotmail.com. That's not my email address, but it's along the same lines. Not only does my email address sound stupid, but it's also got a pretty cringy backstory to it. So I've decided to do what any self-respecting adult would do and post the explanation of that story on YouTube. Now, there are close friends of mine that have no idea how this email address and what has now become kind of my username came to be. So this is a first for a lot of people. I need you to cast your mind back to a time pre-Facebook, pre-Twitter, even pre-MySpace. I didn't even need an email address. I had nothing to send to it. My phone at the time was like a brick phone with scrolling text when you got a text message. So it took about 10 minutes just to read if someone sent a really long message. You still with me? It's okay. The world was a safe place pre-social media. In fact, it was a shite sight easier to get away with stuff. So I apologise to any ex-girlfriends at the time. So I must have been around 16, 17, kind of too young to drink in the pub, but too old to hang out at the park. Well, I still hung out at the park, but I was definitely too old. So you kind of have nowhere to go. There's like this void. So you want to be cool and you want to impress people, and at 17, the most obvious way to do that is to get drunk. Yeah. So I was fortunate enough at the time that my mate Jeff.
My name is Jeff.
Okay, so he's not actually called Jeff, but I feel some of the details of this story are not known by everyone, so it's probably best to hide his identity. Now, if you know me, you'll be able to work out who Jeff is. And if you were there that night, you definitely know who Jeff is. So Jeff...
My name is Jeff.
So Jeff's parents would go away a lot of weekends, leaving us to fend for ourselves. Which is 17, free house, access to booze. You can see where this story is going. It's probably at this point I should point out I'm a pretty sensible guy, and even at a younger age, we were pretty sensible. To be honest, all we cared about at that age was playing video games, drinking booze, and chasing skirt. But how interesting would it be if we just sat around, got drunk, playing video games, and someone went, "Oh yeah, maybe you should be called this." Nah, you want the details. Something about that iconic saying really struck a chord with me.
I never broke the law! I am the law!
For some reason, the drunk me developed an even deeper bond. I think most people would like to forget that night, but unfortunately I feel it's a situation that's ingrained on most of their brains, not for the right reasons. Now, for some reason, I took on the persona of Mr. Stallone himself, the lawmaker. So I'm pretty drunk at this point and taking on the persona of Judge Dredd. I'm ordering people around, pretending and inflicting my own version of the law. When for some reason I've gone from a clothed Judge Dredd to a naked Judge Dredd. Now, I don't know if this happened gradually or whether I just decided to lose all my clothes. And I don't know why. I'm guessing I was probably egged on, not one to turn down a bet. And as you can imagine, if I'm Judge Dredd, I need a lawmaker. And seeing as I had nothing to hand at the time, yeah, it was the lawmaker. Now, things get pretty fucked up from here on in. And if I'm honest, I kind of don't want to tell you the rest. But what I will say is, the rest of the night involved a fridge, a pot of jam, some muffins, a loaf of bread, a board marker pen, and me writing a list of everyone who I'd inflicted justice on a part of my body. It was a long list. I think the most remarkable thing about this whole thing was I actually got up the next day, went to work like nothing happened. I have one beer. I'm wrecked. I have to have like 2 days off to get over a hangover. And that is how Lukethelaw was born. That became my email address, my username. It went on and has become my username for most things. It's the topic of conversations when I meet up with friends. I've kind of become known for one night. Now, probably not for the right reasons, but hey, infamy is as good as being famous. If you have an equally cringy email address story, then leave it in the comments below. To be honest, it can't be much worse than me. Unless you got naked, reenacted a Stallone movie, and inflicted your own brand of justice on your closest friends, you're one up on me.